Joining me now is a lawyer and public affairs analyst, Olatunbosun Oshifoora. It's nice to have you join me right now, Bosun.
My pleasure.
Right. Talk to us in the eyes of the law, really. What qualifies a group to be proscribed as a terrorist group?
When its activities lean towards terrorism, and terrorism is easy to define. Literally, when your actions are counter to what the security apparatus or the security of the nation, or when your actions basically go against security of lives and property. That's basically
So would you say that the IMN qualifies to be proscribed, considering the fact that they have clashed with the security agencies, they've clashed with the military, they've clashed with the police, and so on at different times?
I want to say otherwise. I don't see them as a terrorist group. I think the government and the security agencies have not really managed the crisis very well. But also, on the other hand, where you have a situation where people are claiming to be, protesting peacefully and they're shooting back at the police, then that is no longer a peaceful protest. Though your right to protest is guaranteed under the fundamental rights in the Constitution, 1999 Constitution, but shooting back during protests, that is no longer guaranteed by the Constitution.
Now, what makes this case a little more compounded or maybe complicated, if I have to put it that way? A lot of people see politics to it, a lot of people see religion to it, others even see ethnicity to it, and so on.
I think the management capacity and capability of the government is basically what has caused this problem. The government is not proactive. The government is, to me, the government is not sensitive to the insecurities and chaos in the land. We just talked about Boko Haram. The Boko Haram is there, headsmen is there, banditry is there, kidnappings, what have you. And at the same time, the government is not handling this well. You want them to start first, then you now go ahead and react. Governments don't work like that. In saner climes, there are ways of managing this kind of people before it grows into something. You have a people who are ready to die for a cause. So you don't face them and say, okay, we'll kill you because you're ready to die. They're a large number. They have a large following. So there's a way you manage this kind of people. Fine, there's place for force, but at the same time, there's place for rule of law. If you look at it, you've taken this same man to court. One of the courts have given an order that he be released on bail. And the government is playing funny on it. And at the same time, the same government, failing to obey the court order in one area, has gone to court to proscribe them. So which one do you want us to believe?
All right.
And with me now is lawyer and public affairs analyst Olatunbosun Oshifoora. Good morning.
Good morning.
Talking about this proscription, or let's even look at the legal means and how far the IMN has gone in using legal means to advocate for the release of their leader and wife.
Basically, their leader was charged to court. He came to court. His supporters came to court. They got lawyers to take up his cause. And they've gone about it the right way. There are two cases. There's the one at the Federal High Court, Abuja. There's a one in Kaduna. Okay. And in one of the cases, it was said that he was granted bail, but for whatever reason, the man was not released on bail, and we saw where the government came out and said that he's more like a security or national security risk, sort of. And at the end of the day, that's why maybe the government is not obeying the court order, which is a minus, a big minus for the government.
On the other side now are the videos that we've seen of the pattern of the IMN protests in recent. We've seen a NEMA office or a NEMA property burnt down. We've seen the protesters jumping on vehicles. We've seen them smashing vehicles, destroying, basically. That seems to be what the government is looking at in getting this proscription order against the group.
First of all, the Constitution guarantees and gives everyone a fundamental right to associate, and also protest, even against government policies.
But they are not absolute rights.
Absolutely, yeah. But in going about your protest, you have to be peaceful. The way they've gone about it is not in the best of manners. You're not to destroy properties. You're not to create any form of security risk for people, which they engage in. But I think the government allowed that to fester. Because if there's been a court order, these people have complied with all the necessary dictates of the court. And the government didn't fulfill its part. Fine, it doesn't give room for lawlessness. But at the same time, the government has given them, you know, the ground for them to go ahead and come up with alternatives. Because if the government is not obeying the court, then they're not setting the right examples.
Does this proscription order also have some form of retroactive element correcting what people have said have been the excesses of police authorities, now police forces?
The action by the government looks like an afterthought. Because if you saw this coming, if we have a proactive government, this was what they should have done in the first place. Now look at this, then engage them. In fact, it's less of rule of law and rule of engagement. You have to engage those people, talk to them. They have, once you have a set that has leadership, get the right people to talk to those people, negotiate with them, not necessarily accede or acquiesce in what they're saying, but find a way to make sure that the national security is not...
It's safeguarded, and at the same time, like a win-win situation.
Exactly.
Olatubo Soshifowora, many thanks.